brought to you almost live from the Dude in the Basement studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It's Sips, Suds, and Smokes with your smoking hosts, the good old boys. And now it's sippin' time.
Hey, hello, it's sippin' time again. Welcome to this Sips episode where everything good in life is worth discussing. As always, we are the best thing on at 2 a.m.
Yes, that's a fact.
And three.
That's a fact. Pretty much. Right. Most of the night.
We're maybe second best at 3, but we're real solid at 4:15. So
I've never stayed up till 4:15, man.
That's exactly why we're solid.
You never went to bed until 4:15.
I literally went to bed.
We're the best radio show you've never heard.
But you can get us on the podcast, kids. Get us on the podcast.
No hope. This is Made Man Bob. And joining me today are Made Man Brent.
Always a pleasure to be here in the basement.
And Made Man Maury.
Good morning, Bob. Love the smell of damp basement.
At least he didn't say tatties and neeps again. Good old boy Justin.
Good morning, Bob.
I didn't want to know what that's supposed to be. Good old boy Harmeet.
Were you going for this accent? Thank you for having me, Bob.
Well, he was
really
bobbling his head a little bit.
He did bobble.
Yeah.
I saw it happening.
Yes.
It was not pleasant to watch.
You know, kind of to think of it, if you got the job doing that on The Simpsons, then it would be okay now, wouldn't it?
It would be totally okay. I'm a brown man.
I have figured out a way to get rid of him.
I'm allowed to make fun of my opinion.
I have figured out the way to get rid of him.
Who are we going to trade him
Somebody, oh my gosh, somebody call The Simpsons right now.
You can pay me some Harry Shearer money. We'll be good. Oh, that's nice.
No. They'll pay you some Harry butt money is what they'll pay you.
I already get that.
I'm sure of that. All right. Well, Brent, Maury, and myself are with the Bourbon Mafia. The Bourbon Mafia is a nonprofit organization composed of bourbon enthusiasts and industry professionals with representation in 8 states and 2 countries. Our members combine a love of bourbon with a passion for charitable work. The group uses their love of our native spirit to raise money for local and national charities through rare bottle auctions and other themed events. You can check them out on Facebook at the Bourbon Mafia. The show is also sponsored in part by the Fort Lauderdale Whisky Society. To find out more about the society and their events, you can visit them at ftlws.com. Our show is also sponsored in part by Fine Spirits in Cooper City, Florida, home of the Enigmatic Machines serving great wines, whiskeys, and other spirits by the glass. You can find them at www.finespirits.net. And our sip segments are all about wine, distilled spirits, tea, and coffee. And today's show is on the fine whiskeys from Penderyn Distilleries, or Penderyn. Not exactly sure.
I've Penderyn.
I've heard it both ways. Yeah.
It's Welsh. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, you know.
It's probably pronounced
Welsh.
Paul.
It's Welsh, and there's only about 8 letters in the name. So, you know.
That's not right.
Yeah. I mean, most Welsh is like 326 letters, and it's got dots over it and little houses.
There should be more consonants.
Smiley faces and
15 consonants. That's how we spell
pretty sure
Paul.
there's like there's like an Anubis there, and like a barking dog. I should know this. My dad's family is partly Welsh, so we have.
You're an American mutt. Just get over it.
Oh, I'm everything, and we have Gouden Carolus from Belgium, and from Australia we have the Starwood distillery. So here's a list of the whiskeys we're going to be tasting today. From Starwood, we have the Starwood Nova, Gouden Carolus Belgian single malt. From Penderyn, we have the Rich Oak single malt, the Penderyn Portwood single malt, Penderyn Madeira finish single malt, and Penderyn Peated single malt. So we're going to have, against my better judgment, we're going to have Justin give us our sips ratings and what he thinks is an actual Welsh accent.
No, don't do the Welsh accent. It's just embarrassing.
Well, now I have to.
Well,
one sip. Give me a glass of water to wash out my mouth.
You know what that sounds like? That sounds like the Lucky Charms guy who's like
stoned,
who's stoned out of his mind,
Right on Quaaludes or something.
Like 14 ludes and and a bottle of cheap whiskey.
2 sips. Nice. But what else do you have?
That's just
Well, isn't that nice?
bad. Yeah. It's not getting any better.
Magically delicious.
3 sips.
Do an Indian accent for 3.
I'm craving cereal all of a sudden.
I'd be more comfortable with him doing his Indian accent. Do Hindi. Come on.
Well, nobody really cares if you're comfortable. I mean, yeah. Really? Do you
that's the way
care?
it
Any of you guys care? No, none of us care. Do whatever you want.
Everybody's got their eyes covered. I don't know what that means.
Here, let's go through it. Do you care?
No.
Do you care?
No.
Harm, do you even care?
Not really.
Exactly. So go ahead.
It's unanimous.
3 sips. Interesting. What was this again?
The Lucky Charms guy just committed suicide.
4 sips. Let's keep this secret to ourselves. Pour me another.
Oh.
I'm going to say it one time, and I'm going to say it one time only, and I'm only saying it because I care. That's why they call it dope, son. That's why they call it dope.
Maybe we should make this a 40-minute show.
Yeah. Maybe
Just start 10 minutes
11
in.
and a half minute show. How far are we in now? 6:45? Yeah, about a 7-minute show. All right. Might as well finish it.
5 sips. Oh my. I was unaware anything could be this good.
Oh my goodness.
You know, he tried.
We won't be hearing that sound.
Oh, he
anytime
tried.
soon.
He failed.
Thank you very much.
Hold on here. That's a man from Wales. Come on. Tom Jones.
He's from Wales?
Of course he's from Wales. The sexiest man to ever come from Wales. Oh, come on.
I can't keep all you white
It's
people.
Tom Jones. What are you kidding? There's chicks on their underwear right now. Come on. Ay. No hope. All right. Well, Mr. Grumpy, why don't you tell us about our first
me?
whiskey?
My turn?
Yep.
All right. I was just thinking about my white wife. She's Norwegian. She just looks like other white people. I have no idea.
She's from Alabama.
But yeah, she's half Norwegian though. Jeez.
In your dreams.
Yeah, exactly.
No, she did the whole 23andMe thing, whatever. It's like, yeah, that's just a bunch of white folks.
Yeah. No, they did the 23andMe thing and sent it back, and it was just a stick. There were no branches whatsoever. Just a direct line. Yeah.
Answer the question.
It's a direct line. Oh, it started out in Sweden, but it made it
Norway.
straight down to here. Yeah.
All right. So anyway, so we go from one white land to a white colony, Starwood Nova in Australia. Located in Melbourne, Australia, Starwood Distillery uses Australian malted barley fermented with brewer's yeast and sourcing every ingredient from no more than a 3-day drive away. Working
I think it was
closely
a
with...
one-day drive.
Yeah. A day's drive away.
A day's drive? Yeah, I got to put my glasses back
yeah,
on.
you want glasses?
I need new glasses. Whatever.
I can get like 700 miles in a day.
Can you really?
Well, it wasn't a Brent
That's
day. It was
farm
just
to
a
the end of the
generic
coast.
day.
We're talking normal people, dude.
Yeah. Okay, so a single day's drive away, closely, and they work closely with local farmers, winemakers, and maltsters. Maltsters?
Maltster.
That's a thing, a maltster?
It's big, Harm. You're the maltster.
The maltster.
Maltster.
This guy who makes malt.
Maltmeister would be
Meet
cool.
the maltsters.
That'd be a German malt maker.
I'm
I'm
Herman Ulcer.
the Starwood Nova.
My wife Willie. That would make him grandpa.
The Starwood Nova expression is matured exclusively in red wine barrels from local wineries making great Australian Shiraz, Cabernets, and Pinot Noirs.
Is
There's
it Shiraz or Syrah?
well, in Australia it's Shiraz because they're Australian.
But the rest of us would call it
Syrah. But we're in America, so it's not Pinot Noir, it's Pinot Noir. So the Pinot Noir, they use still wet casks that come straight from the
You're
winery.
showing your Alabama.
Nope, that's how I sound. That's how I pronounce it.
Showing
You
your
can't,
Alabama again.
can't take away my
Well,
pronunciations.
this is the interesting part, though. They actually use wet casks. They're not using shaved, retoasted, or anything like that. They take the wet cask. They don't rechar them. They don't shave them. They don't retoast them. And then for maximum impact of the wine, they just put the spirit in there, which is an interesting thing. And a lot of distilleries, not a lot of distilleries, a few distilleries do that with American bourbon casks when they use wet barrels. It costs a lot more money to ship the barrels wet and
Heavier, yeah.
Yeah, well, we've had a few where they actually wrap them up. Who was that? They wrap them up.
Cellophane.
Yeah, wrap it in cellophane, put it in a refrigerated truck, and send them express across the country. So, because if you don't, then they'll go off.
They're moldy, yeah.
Yeah.
So
we've had a few that tasted like that too. Yeah.
Wet wine barrels, wet bourbon barrels, intact barrels. They cost more to ship because usually what they do, they disassemble the barrels into staves, pack them into a container, then ship them across the
you can get
ocean
a
or wherever.
lot of barrels in a container if you take them apart.
But if you don't take them apart, it's a lot more expensive, but you get more flavor. So I really respect the fact that they're doing that with wet barrels. So the color of this whiskey, as you can see, this it's a rose gold. It's got this pinkish hue to it. It's very pretty. And the nose, now this has gotten some air. When I first nosed this whiskey, it was just kind of one note, a little bit berries and chocolate. And now it's much more pronounced. I get some oranges, I get berries, I get chocolate again. It's just more intense. It's had time to sit there in the glass. And on the palate, red fruit, vanilla. It has a medium finish. There's some cherries on it. It's a good effort. It's pretty damn good. But the wine, I think it's a little bit overpowered by the wine.
I think that I was going to say that I think that the wet casks did not serve them well here. They were a little too wet. There's too much wine, and they're a little overwined.
I don't know if it's the wetness. It's more they left them in that cask too long, maybe.
Well, yeah, one or the other. But in either case, it doesn't have the balance that you'd like to see. In terms of that, I hit on the nose. To me, when I first poured it, I got apple juice, and more apple juice. It just tasted like a glass of apple juice just on the nose.
Whose apple juice are you drinking, man?
Like Martinelli's or something. I don't know.
I mean, this is not apple.
And
What are you,
it's
8?
faded.
It's like, how much apple juice do you drink?
It's faded.
I drink Martinelli's wine. Their Pinot Noir, by the way, is stunning. Same family.
Well, it's gotten better with the time in the glass.
All right. Well, we'll be back with his sippy cup full of apple juice soon. Hey, and we're back, and we're talking about Starwood Nova, Australian single malt. Yes, they make malt whiskey just about anywhere. So, what do you think,
Do they make
Brent?
apple juice like Maury's?
Yeah.
Nah, it just smells. Maury smells like a moldy sippy cup and a lost French fry from underneath your seat. So,
Yeah, for me, I got this. It was very oaky and very berry. But I got more like a strawberry jam on the palate.
Really?
That's
Like
what I would.
Flintstone vitamins?
Not the Flintstone vitamins, the strawberry jam. And that's not what I want to have when I'm drinking whiskey. I don't want to be drinking strawberry jam.
Well, they make
that's-
peanut butter whiskey
Hey,
these days. Why not?
I have seen you drink strawberry jam.
That's true, but
It's usually not his first drink of the evening, though.
Your wife says she can't keep
That's towards
strawberry
the end of the
jam.
night.
Have you ever seen him do it? He takes the jar, takes the lid up. You can tell he's smart. He takes the lid off before he puts it in the microwave because it's metal. He puts it in, gets it good and hot till it gets liquidy, and then big straw comes
To the
in.
head.
Yeah, that and a little bit of vodka and some Malt mixed in, and he's got a great cocktail.
yeah, I really got strawberries on this one. So
Did you add
It's like
water?
a dark
Maury, did you add water?
I did not.
What about you, Justin? Water?
Did you add water?
let me
No,
add
I did
water.
not.
Let me
I
add
just
water.
did. Just try.
Maybe a little
Try.
water.
Let me add a little water.
There you go. It's not that. It's not strawberry jam. No matter what you say, I don't know where you're going. It's berries.
It's definitely changed. I mean, the apple's blown off, but I just find it very one note, very ordinary.
I got barrel-aged Manischewitz.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my God.
You're showing your ethnicity way too much.
Just
here,
a
Bubba.
little, yeah.
Good Lord.
Go have a piece of matzah and sit in
That's
the corner.
some kosher sweet wine
Wow.
for the uninitiated.
Wow.
For the non-chosen people.
No, for the uninitiated. You don't have to be.
There's rabbis listening to this going like,
You don't have to
dude.
be a religious to drink Manischewitz.
That's right. It's an everyday drink.
no, you just have to have a dead palate. So
I'm sorry. If you're drinking Manischewitz, you've given up all
Yeah.
faith in God.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
There's a lot of good kosher wine out there.
Yeah, you don't
That
have
is
to
not
drink
it.
that. No. That's your apple juice, just with alcohol in it. Oh
Well,
my
that's
God.
cheap. So that's what we got in my
I
house.
go with Kedem. You're the Kedem barrel.
Anything, but good.
How are we going to
Lord.
rate this one, Bob?
Well, we're going to give this one 2 sips.
Well, isn't that nice?
Definitely interesting. Definitely interesting to see where they're going. Give it a little bit more time, and we'll see where they're at. So,
Also, it's a 41% alcohol. It's kind of low.
Yeah, that
Yes.
also is affecting it as well.
You're a proof snob.
You're making me one. I hang out with the wrong people.
Yeah, look who's talking. The guy at the end of the table. Please.
So let,
All right.
let the guy at the end of
Yeah.
the table do the next one.
Yeah, let's let him. Let's let him. Come on.
Okay,
Let's go.
fine.
Go, guy.
Well,
Made Man Maury.
Come on.
He's
thank
made.
you. You ready?
What, got all day?
Sure.
Let's
Okay.
go.
The next is the Gouden Carolus, Belgian single malt, non-age stated, 46% ABV. From 1637 to 1914, the Van Breedom family were millers and distillers. Say that fast several times.
Millers and distillers.
Turning grain into Genevieve,
I thought it was a challenge.
Geneva, in
Genevieve.
Glasveld,
Oh,
Belgium.
my God.
In 1872, Louis Van Breedom and his sister left to become brewers, taking over the Het Anchor Brewery in Michelin, Belgium. It has been run by the family and its descendants for 5 generations. In 2010, they decided to branch out, and the 17th century family farm in Glasveld was turned into a whiskey distillery. Gouden Carolus Belgian single malt is distilled from the mash of their Gouden Carolus triple beer. The mash is distilled in hand-hammered copper pot stills and aged in first-filled bourbon casks, followed by a further aging in anchor casks, which are ex-wine oak casks, which are scraped and charred by the cooper according to the distillery's own formula. The whiskey was first released in 2013. So there you have it. Well, it's got a nice light copper to goldeny color. I found the nose to be simple, straightforward, some red fruit.
What is wrong with you? I'm sorry. Finish your review. Then I'll ask that.
Oh, please interject.
No. Go ahead. Simple nose. Go ahead. No. Go ahead. Sorry, I'll let you finish.
And I thought it was pleasant on the palate. I thought it was nice. It was easygoing. It was pleasant. It was an easy drinker. It's got a medium to short finish. All in all, a very nice entry level whiskey that I thought was pleasant and enjoyable. Brent, what'd you think?
Not my cup of tea.
Of course,
It's
it's
not
not
tea, it's
bourbon.
whiskey.
Yeah.
Oh, that was where I went wrong.
It's not bourbon either.
I was expecting, with the first fill bourbon cask, I was expecting to get some more bourbon influence off of these, and you don't get it. It's not there. It's not there at all. I don't.
They must be dry barrels.
Yeah. What they do? They scraped them and
They scraped them.
they scraped them
they
and everything. So
recharred
it's
That was the wine.
That was
test.
the wine cast.
wine cask, but yeah, just to me it was nice, easy going, a little bit of fruit on it and the vanilla. I mean, it's just a simple,
Simple and pleasant.
simple,
easygoing.
pleasant, easy. Yeah, just
You can't pour it out, but you just can't get
Clearly,
overly
something
excited.
is wrong with both of you. I want to hear what's wrong with Justin next.
So this really reminded
You
me
don't have that much time.
of a.
Let's get his mom in here. She'll tell you what's wrong with him.
This reminds me of a Belgian triple beer without carbonation. It's like very high proof. Kind of reminds me of the Utopia beer.
Oh my
where
God!
it's
Why am I agreeing with Justin?
non-carbonated?
What's going on?
If they marketed this as a beer, it'd be like a
Those two have never had a
$200
triple
beer
in
that
their
you
lives,
could
so there's
age.
your problem.
So it's interesting.
It's interesting that it is made from triple.
It's made
and
from
it
a
really
beer,
comes
it's a
through,
beer,
but I
it's made
don't
from
really
beer.
get that sense that it's a beer. I love beer and I love great beer. I just didn't find this had any resemblance to beer.
It starts as a beer. Bob, what's going on with you, Bob?
No, he's absolutely right. You can tell that it came from a triple mash because it has a lot of character of a Belgian triple beer.
Yeah.
It's got a very interesting nose.
You don't smell that beer yeast?
It does
yeah.
smell like beer.
It
Yeah.
smells wonderful.
It tastes
it's
like beer and it
definitely-
finishes like beer.
it's
This is
definitely
a
a beer
geek's
used.
whiskey. And I know you guys are geeks, but you're just the wrong kinds of geeks. You're probably like Star Wars instead of Star Trek. There's something wrong with you.
we already did the Star Wars review.
Did you?
What was the Star Wars?
Yeah. Well, Trekkers are better. Come on. We know that. You're just the wrong type of geek. This is a whiskey geek's whiskey.
Yeah, I mean, you could spend a while trying just going through
There's
the
no
nose
hops
on
in
it.
this. There's no hops in this malt mash. I know that because
Okay.
I've asked them, but I still smell the hops because of the brewery where it's made.
If you wash
It's
your
in the
hands?
air. It's wonderful.
The character shines
His hair.
through.
He
I
hasn't
don't know
washed
why.
his hair in a couple weeks.
He was eating frog legs. That's why he smells hops. Got him with that one.
You did get me with that.
No, it is. Here's the thing: you can't compare it to anything else. You have to absolutely take this one. You have to take this for what's in this glass because I
think it's so cool.
I am enjoying it. I think it's very, very interesting. It's got a really interesting nose. And like Justin said, once in a while the boy nails one. It's like it's a Belgian triple that's just a whiskey. That's exactly what it is. But the nose is very deep. I mean, there's a lot of nuance.
So
to it,
malty and beautiful, and that hoppy characteristic, which I don't know where it's coming from. Again, it's not hoppy.
Again, wash your hands.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to be rating the Gouden Carolus Belgian single malt. 3 sips.
Interesting.
This whole average rating thing is getting to me, man.
All right. Well, we're going to have Brent tell us a little bit about the Penderyn distillery.
The Penderyn distillery is located. Penderyn.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Said Penderyn.
Penderyn distillery is located in the village of Penderyn in Wales, in the United Kingdom. The Welsh have a long history of distilling dating back centuries. In fact, in 1705, the ancestors of Evan Williams of American bourbon fame owned a distillery in Pembrokeshire before they emigrated to the New World. Today, Penderyn Distillery uses ex-bourbon barrels, including barrels from Evan Williams, to age their spirits. Unfortunately, the distilling industry in Wales died out around the time of the First World War. When Penderyn Distillery began operating again in the year 2000, it became the first operational distillery in Wales in a century. Their first whiskey was launched on St. David's Day 2004 by none other than HRH Charles, Prince of Wales.
That's His Royal Highness.
His Royal Highness.
His Royal Highness, HRH. Penderyn distills part of their spirit using a unique type of still designed by Dr. David Faraday, descendant of the groundbreaking Victorian scientist Michael Faraday.
Cool.
Yeah, that is a unique little fact about him. So unlike the traditional pot stills used in most malt productions in the UK, the Faraday still is a type of combination still which consists of a pot still with a rectifying column followed by a more traditional column still. This unique combination allows Penderyn to distill at a fairly high 92% ABV. So this, in combination with their all-female distilling team, makes Penderyn a very unique whiskey indeed. Well, the all-female distilling team would make anybody a fan, right?
Well, it wasn't. It was actually by accident. I talked to the guys from Penderyn when we did our Zoom meeting with some of these whiskeys, and they weren't looking to hire all females. It was just they were tested on palate, and they all have amazing palates.
So this next whiskey we're talking about is the Penderyn Rich Oak Single Malt. It's a non-age stated 46% alcohol by volume, 92 proof. This is the newest addition to the Penderyn Gold range. It is matured in a range of specifically selected ex-bourbon and rejuvenated oak casks. So this has got that light golden color, which all of these seem to have. I don't think if you put them side by side, you'd be able to tell one from the other if you didn't have a label on them. They're
not
very close to.
selection.
Can I see the bottle?
Yeah, not with these.
Right in front of
I get a lot of ripe fruit on the nose.
That's Madeira.
On the mouth, I get a nice, beautiful, creamy mouthfeel. I get like a creme brulee, apricots, apples, plums. It's followed. It's nice. It's a short to medium finish. Creme brulee. Follow that off. It's a very pleasant, very easygoing whiskey. I very much enjoyed it. Justin?
So it's interesting. I was reading about Faraday, and they have this Faraday Cage.
Oh, yeah. Faraday Cage is awesome.
Origin of the MRI and to keep your hard drive from getting wiped. And this spirit seems to have its own unique influences that, unlike any other of the whiskeys I've had from that area, almost like as if it was in a Faraday cage.
Boy, he's reaching for that
It's
one.
a little reach.
Holy cow.
I found it was like,
How many other whiskeys from that region have you had, considering this is the only distillery in Wales?
well, I had the other ones on this show. So about 5. And thought it was like sweet and malty and like very, very clear new make when they made it.
I think
So
that's
really liked
that's
it.
where I think that they use the Faraday still. I think this is the problem with it. It's not that there's a problem per se. It's just their style. They're coming off the still at 92% ABV.
There's no flavor left.
Yeah.
But it's very clean.
It's super clean. But 92% ABV is almost, you're getting close to vodka here. Where's the malt? There's no fusel oils coming off. There's none of the heavier distillate coming off. So some of the
stripping
flavor,
out all the good stuff.
the
You're
flavor
no question.
profile.
It's a vodka lover's whiskey.
It's like Canadian whiskey, right?
Yeah,
Canadian
yeah.
whiskey's high proof too, or coming off the stills. It's less flavor from the grains and the yeast and more from the barrel.
Well, it clearly
neutral.
deviates from the rules of making Scotch single malt.
Right.
Obviously, this
And
is
they
not
don't want to be Scotch. They want
It's
to be
considered
distinct.
to be a single malt Welsh whiskey.
It's the only Welsh
And
whiskey.
they've made a few modifications up to and including the still, the hybrid still, and then of course they're using a little bit of a column. So they definitely have the ability to go higher on the proof, as we said, strip out some flavors. It's a different beast. I think it's interesting. I like where it's going. I just don't find it to be overly complex. I find it to be average.
Most of their whiskeys are also non-age statement because it's all about flavor profile. I forget about I don't remember the problem is I didn't study this up before the show, but I should have.
No, thanks.
Did any of you? I at least used to know this. They have a very specific process of selecting their whiskeys and how they taste and different types, and so they have a fairly rigorous process. I respect what they're doing. I just wish they didn't start with 92% ABV.
I agree with you. I don't think it tastes young. They don't put an age statement. A lot of times that's a metaphor
they don't
for
need
young
it.
whiskey. They don't need it. It doesn't taste young. My complaint is not that it tastes young or immature. My complaint is that I think they've stripped too much flavor with the distillation process.
It's medium. I got banana notes. I got cereal notes. I got raisin notes. It's
Muted. Because
muted.
remember, at 92%, they're adding almost 50% by volume of water to get this down to 46 ABV or 92
it
proof.
has to be aged first. They're getting a lot. They're relying a lot on their barrels, and I think they could do better with with changing the distillate a little bit.
I think the vodka people that love vodka would love this.
If you want a light whiskey and you're not ready for Scotch, maybe Penderyn will get you there. This is your
not everybody wants everything heavy
You want to
all the
move from
time.
bourbon to UK whiskeys.
But you're underestimating what I'm saying is it comes off the still at 92% ABV, and it comes in the bottle at 46% ABV.
Yeah, but
It's been aged.
it spends time in the barrel before.
Yeah,
they
but there's just so much flavor it can pick up. Now you're taking the spirit, assuming it's proof neutral, and you got to add 50% diluted by almost 100%.
You can't assume it's proof neutral. Is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
absolutely not. No, it never is. So
Bob, what did you think?
I thought it was very interesting. I mean, it's got that maltiness to it.
Oh, I've had several Penderyns that are amazing. Just this one's just right there.
On the palate, it's honey and vanilla and citrus. It is a lighter style of whiskey, but that's what they're shooting for. So I'm not going to ding it for that because that's what they're trying to do.
It's what they want to be.
It's pleasant. It's got a very nice nose to it.
I just have an issue with it being light. I just felt that it was not as complex as other things we've had. It's
We're proof fans and we're spoiled,
and you can't compare it. You can't compare it to 130 proof bourbon that we had 2 hours ago. You can't do that.
No
you
one's
have to compare
comparing
it to what's in that glass and in that glass only.
But I want to compare it to a 112 proof Ardbeg. I've got the different flavor profile. I want that bonfire on the beach.
There you go. Yeah. No, this is not a bonfire on the
Nah.
beach. There's no bonfires on the beach.
But, all in all, extremely well made and a lovely whiskey and a lighter style for sure, but a really nice whiskey. We're going to give it 3 sips.
Yep.
So we're going to move on to our next one, which is the Penderyn Portwood, which is also 46% ABV, 92 proof. This is matured in ex-bourbon barrels and then finished in ex-port casks. And again, it's this one's, I think, is a little darker than the others that we had, but not a lot.
It's got a red. It's got a red tint to it.
It's like a sort of a rose gold sort of color to it. It's got on the nose. On the nose, I can definitely pick up the port wine. It's
the influence of the barrel is obvious here.
This is pretty clear, but it's not on the nose. It's not overpowering. It's it's well balanced between the malt and the port. And on the palate, again you get the raisins. You get the the grapiness from the port cask, a little bit of burnt caramel, some vanilla.
This really improved with the air. This one really did improve.
And then almost sort of a black walnut sort of tannin to it.
Good call.
That sort of bitter of a black walnut.
I never agree with you.
I mean, again, I think this one's vastly improved with air. So so far so good. We'll be back. Hey, and we're back, and we're discussing some wines from the Penderyn distillery
and
in
whiskey
Wales.
Too. Whiskey too.
Oh, whiskey, yeah, not wine. I'm looking at Portwood. So what did you think about it, Brent?
Okay, this is interesting to me because I got a lot of the same kind of flavor notes that you got with the raisins, the walnuts. I got the oak tannins and stuff. But, the one thing that I wanted to say was that they did a really good job of balancing this.
Yeah.
As far as, when putting it in the export casks, because I think you could easily go overboard on that.
A lot of them do.
Right. A lot of them do because with that, that 92%, you're stripped a lot already, and it's so easy to overdo something at that point, when you put in another cask like that. And we've seen so many places that have overdone it. And it's nice to see a nice balance on this one where they haven't done that, even with the initial flavors being stripped back a little bit. I think they've done a great job with that balancing part. And I'm looking forward to, seeing other things for them. And it's one of those things, man, what if they did it at 60% or something?
You brought that up, and literally that's what I have on my shelf from Penderyn. I have a single malt. I'm sorry. The single malt Welsh whiskey, the Penderyn Portwood, cask strength, 12 years old.
Now that would be more interesting.
That is a stunning beast. Unfortunately, they couldn't send us because there was only a single cask for the U.S. That's like 400 bottles. That was it.
Yeah.
Well, again, you're going to have more flavor. Again, remember, it's going in at 92, so well, we don't know for sure. But
we don't know the age on this one either.
No,
right.
It's you don't know what it went in at.
Right. Yeah. But they did age it. I mean, for the age of it, the age doesn't really matter because they didn't, what I'm trying to say is they didn't overdo it.
Yeah.
Which was nice.
A lot of whiskeys taste like port and not whiskey.
Yeah.
And then a lot of them taste like whiskey with no port at all.
But they got the color.
Like we say all the time, the balance is getting the balance of the port filling in the holes that the whiskey is missing. So
yes, and they've done a very good job.
Yeah, I think they did a good job on that, and it absolutely is significantly changed in the last.
Yeah, this is another one that really improved with air. I feel like maybe because these are no age statement whiskeys, there are some younger ones in here, and younger whiskeys usually benefit with a little bit of air. This blossomed.
The nose is 10 times more now that it's got.
It totally blossomed in the glass. There's no water in ours either. At 92 proof, I don't think you need to add any, but I'm gonna try some anyway. What the heck? Let's see if it does anything.
What do you think, Justin?
I really liked this once the air got to it. I couldn't really figure out the notes in the beginning. It seemed kind of confused, but after a half hour, 45 minutes in the glass, it all came together. And I agree with Brent that the wood and the port balance very well, and it's a really pleasant spirit.
Oh, yeah.
Again, that's the hardest thing is if you're doing cask finishing and, 50 or 75 years ago, that was not a big thing, but it has grown, I mean, Bill Lumsden was one of the, the key guys really starting a lot of that, but It's grown a lot. It's even grown here in the States. And there's some people that do it well, and there's some people that did not do it well.
There's some sometimes you might be heavy-handed the first few times you do it. So give them time to develop. These people have obviously
honestly, there's some that still, I mean, they've been doing it for years, and it still tastes more winey than it does whiskey. But again, I understand what they're doing sometimes on that, because again, they're pitching to people that are looking for that palate. I mean, it's like the different. How many sherry bomb whiskeys have you had that honestly taste like sherry with a little bit of whiskey mixed in it? It's not
naming names.
It's
Too
not
many.
and it's not my thing. I love a sherry, but if I want a sherry, I'll just have a sherry. I don't want that much sherry in mine. But I do understand there are people who enjoy that, and that's fine. And if you're
we're not laughing at you. We just point in that general direction.
Yeah, I mean, I just look and go, I have a damn sherry. But this one was
It's
well
just
done.
a coincidence that he's laughing at you.
Try ordering a sherry out these days. It's hard to find.
Nobody
yeah.
could share.
From something that was very popular.
Well, I mean,
nobody's got
try
sherry.
ordering a port. Try
Try
ordering
ordering
a
a
sherry.
Fino sherry. You'll find Oloroso in a restaurant for dessert, but have a Fino before dinner.
Oh, yeah, no.
What restaurant's got that?
Nobody.
No.
So anyway,
I agree. I think you guys have hit it on the head. It's definitely more balanced. It's very pleasant. It's a step up from the rich oak, and I think the port adds a little something to it. Adds a little dimensionality. Adds a little bit of complexity, and all in all, very nice whiskey.
Yeah.
I'm very pleased with this one too. And that burnt walnut you mentioned at the end, Bob, that was spot on. And why am I ever agreeing with you?
Well, we're going to be rating that one 3 sips.
It should be higher. You guys are Philistines.
I agree, but we've got some
We got
heathens
people
with us.
averages. Yeah. Some people are.
There's always somebody bringing down the damn
Speaking
curve.
of average harm, why don't you tell us about the next whiskey?
Yeah.
Oh, you're so.
Well, you're talking
All right.
about harm, not the whiskey.
I knew what he was implying. I get this.
This is another one. The nose is
Penderyn
really changed.
Madeira finish single malt, non-aged statement, 46% ABV, 92 proof. This expression is aged in ex-bourbon barrels and finished in ex-Madeira wine casks. The color is a bright gold with greenish glints. The nose. It has exploded since we first poured it. I'm getting lemon, hazelnuts, a little bit of vanilla, and there's like some sort of bakery component to it.
My mind is a raging torrent, flooded with rivulets of thought, cascading into a waterfall of creative alternatives.
You're clearly not talking about Harmeet there.
Yeah. It's like
It's
got
a golden
creaminess.
burnished bronze with hints of emerald green and what the hell?
Glints.
It's a bright
Not
gold
hints,
with
glints.
greenish glints. Dude, I'm using like 2 and 3 syllable words at the max. You're all right. Remember when you made fun of me for saying retronasal one time? My God.
I still make fun of you for saying that.
Whatever.
Harmeet has one of those calendars, and he gets a new word every day.
No, it's all that SAT prep.
We can never tell which one it's going to be, But he's cheap, so he just keeps recycling the days.
That's right.
So it's been about 2 months since retronasal, so I figured that ought to be coming back around, October,
Today,
November?
came back today.
Yeah, okay. I mean, you can reuse those calendars, right? They just got numbers on it.
He's got numbers. And anywho, that's how they say it. And who says anywho? I just remember from Bugs Bunny.
I don't know, Oklahoma. Hey,
Anyhow.
More from me.
Anywho, I don't know. Whatever. Vanilla, lemon custard, hazelnut, some sort of pie crust, and the palate.
Some sort.
I'm no baker.
Harm, put down the crack pipe. Tell us about the whiskey.
The whiskey is wonderful. It's kind of like on the palate. I kind of got some Nilla wafer and some bread, banana like pudding. There's some spices, goes towards cinnamon. There was some cedar on the finish. Medium long finish, spicy, but the nuttiness faded away. I was expecting more nuttiness from a Madeira finish.
He's right, Banana pudding.
Banana pudding.
Even a
Nilla
blind
wafers.
squirrel is right once in
Nanner
a while.
pudding. Absolutely nanner pudding.
Yeah,
Of course, he goes home to Alabama, so he knows about
I
nanner
don't
pudding.
eat that stuff, but I've been exposed to
Phyllis.
it.
You should not have eaten that stuff.
Out of my house.
This one, I agree, Harm. It's a step up. It's definitely improved. When it first went in the glass, the nose was
Muted.
muted. Thank you. That was a perfect word. And the
And
palate
see, I
was-
didn't have to use my calendar for that one.
And the palate was muted as well. I think. It's
Oh, you want him
blossomed.
muted? Hold on. What channel is he on? He's on 3, right?
I think that the palate has improved with air. The nose has definitely improved with air. It's not quite as there as some of the Madeira whiskeys, finished whiskeys that I've had. There's definitely a little less Madeira influence, but you definitely get some of it. And I think it's a nice effort. I think it's really going the right direction. It's again taken the some of the initial whiskeys that we've had from them, in particular the rich oak, and really amped it up. And kudos, good job, Brent.
Yeah, this was my favorite of the day when I initial tasting, and after letting it sit for a while, it's still my favorite. When I wrote down lemon pie with vanilla wafers, with vanilla wafer crust.
And I didn't even talk to you.
You know, that's what I wrote down.
Wish I still hadn't talked to you, but whatever.
But I get a spiciness to it that I just can't put my palate on at the time.
It's not
but
cinnamon, huh? Yeah, I thought it was cinnamon.
It's like it's a tingly, it's a nice bright spice, but it's nice. It doesn't overpower anything, and I enjoy that. The finish is nice.
But would you buy a bottle? Would you spend your hard-earned cash on a bottle?
No, I would not.
Well,
it's not my palate.
It's not from America.
It's not
he
my
only buys
palate.
American whiskey.
No, that's not true.
What non-American whiskey have you bought?
I have bought Canadian whiskeys.
That's America's
I just want to let you know that
Canada's in America.
You know,
It's Canada. Like, do you even stop at the border? I mean, isn't that like a state?
I never used to stop at the border, but now they make you, I guess. So
That doesn't count. That's North America. It's still part of America.
Whiskey running days.
That's right.
you see, you asked me. That's what I told you.
That's fine. Justin, what did you think?
So first
Well, thank you.
out of the bottle, I got some off notes. It smelled kind of like Old Spice cologne. The Madeira was really strong. And then, yeah. And then once air got to it, it went into balance. And I didn't get the lemon pie that
Venus is aligning
Brent got,
with
but as soon
Mars.
as he mentioned it, I tasted it in there.
Lemon pie?
Yeah, the
No,
lemon pie.
It's banana pudding and vanilla wafers.
There was a citric note for me.
Somebody
And-
put some slices of lemon in my banana pudding.
Yeah. You know,
Somebody put.
it was not bad.
And Bob finds that on the fly.
It was not bad.
I'm like Fred from the Stern Show, man. I got everything in here.
Somebody put some bananas in my lemon pie.
There you go.
There's definitely more banana than lemon.
Somebody put some Old Spice in my high karate.
That's the spice, the high karate spice. That's
Electric shave. Yeah.
that's the spice that I'm missing on that.
Oh, wow. How old was I in that high karate?
Oh yeah,
Like
they made
5 years old.
They made
That's-
red and yellow, and I think
I don't even remember the
green.
colors.
Yeah,
That
they
was
made different
before my
colors.
time.
I don't remember what it smelled like, but they were different colors. I had a cousin who there was an old drugstore had been around since like the turn of the century in Charlotte that he worked at when he was a kid, and they were closing, and they just had a basement filled with old stuff, and they were just literally clearing stuff out. And he went and got an uncle of ours high karate for a Christmas present. And my uncle, being a hillbilly from North Carolina, opens the box up and goes, "Ooh," and takes the cap off and right at Christmas dinner. Yeah. So we all had to smell,
great.
60-year-old high karate for dinner.
Well, I don't know what's
And
is that
there's
worse,
the
though,
title
or-
of this episode. Yeah.
Is that worse, or like the smell of my high school days, Dracar Noir?
Oh, I
I'd
like
rather smell high
Dracar.
Dracar
karate.
Noir, baby.
That was
Okay.
high end
80s.
for
I'd rather
I
have
teenagers.
think you were in
karate.
elementary school and that came out, Harm.
Yeah.
Let's not
Oh, no, it was.
overestimate.
And Polo was good too.
No, Polo's never good.
It's still around.
I know. So is Dracar.
They have a vaccine for that now. Don't worry about it.
Jonas Salk.
We're gonna have a
Yeah, you're not
vaccine
going
for
to end up in
corona
the iron
pretty
line.
soon.
You're fine, man. Well, we're going to be rating the Penderyn Madeira finish. 3 sips.
Under protest, dude.
Hey,
Come
you and
on.
me too. You and me too. Don't slap the others. I don't know what to tell you. All right. Let's have Justin tell us about our last one from Penderyn.
So Penderyn Peated single malt, non-age stated, and it's 46% alcohol by volume. This expression is aged in ex-bourbon barrels and finished in Ex-Islay whiskey cask.
It's like,
Oh my God.
How many damn whiskeys from Iowa do you have to drink before you learn how to pronounce it?
He gets his pronunciation skills from me. I just want you to know that. I teach them his pronunciation skills. You know,
like
all right,
they taught us in Star Wars. There's always two, right? The Sith and the Master.
This whiskey really did change with air too. Initially, I got iodine peat, Band-Aids.
There is none of that. There never was.
But after air hit it, the peat and
the correct whiskey,
the iodine went away, and the peat and the vanilla balanced, and the palate really follows through in the nose the same way. Kind of reminds me of creme brulee a little bit. What'd you think, Harmeet?
I think you should put down the crack pipe, Justin. There is none of what you said in this glass. I don't know what just happened there. There's no iodine.
Allow us to wash out his glass and give him a pour of the correct whiskey.
That's the thing. You need to clean the glasses between shows. This is definitely it's finished in Ex-Islay casks, but it's not that medicinal.
It's Islay to you, buddy.
This is more of a wood fire peat. This is definitely there's an Islay influence here. The color's a pale gold. The nose is super light peat. Tons of vanilla. It's frankly, there's not enough peat for a guy like me who wants a peaty whiskey.
It's definitely a light. It's difficult to say who it's marketing towards because it's definitely light on the peat side for a peat head.
And it's not enough fruit for people who want Speyside style.
Correct. I do think it got better, and some of the extra heavy smoke blew off with time in the glass.
Yeah, again, this is markedly improved.
Yeah, it improved in the glass. It's become more balanced. It's not just a soot fest, and you get some fruity notes on the whiskey when you drink it as well.
Where do you think they're going to
palate.
cast? Kalila?
I don't know, man. I don't know who they've got. They probably is Kalila, or it's going to be, who could it be? Ardbeg's not selling casks anymore. Lafroig's not selling casks.
Yeah, this isn't Lafroig.
From Lagavulin, that's not Lagavulin either. I doubt it's Kilhoman. So I think Brooklotti mate. I don't know if they sell casks, but it's probably Kalila. You're right.
Yeah, probably. Again, this one's rapidly improved. I mean, it was very interesting when we opened it, and it's really it's really found its niche for me. I mean,
it didn't do it for me at all.
It didn't do it for me either.
For different reasons.
For other reasons, exactly.
None of us were really fans when we opened it. It's definitely gotten better.
well, we're going to give it 3 sips.
Interesting.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. And we hope you enjoyed this episode. And you can catch all of our episodes where you found this one, as well as on terrestrial and satellite radio, and online at Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio, CBS Radio, radio.com, and pretty much any other place you can find a podcast. The easiest way to find this show on your phone is to ask Alexa, Siri, or Google, play podcast Sip, Suds, and Smokes. We love your feedback. You can reach us online at info@sipsudsandsmokes.com. You can also hear our daily tasting notes that flow out on Twitter every day at Sip Sud Smoke, and our Facebook page is always buzzing with lots of news, and you'll be able to interact with the thousands of other fans on those social media platforms. You can also check us out on Instagram at Sip Suds and Smokes or at Made Man Bob. Do us a favor and take the time to rate this episode. If you're listening to us online, it's a big help, and we get to see your feedback as well. I want to thank our co-host for joining us today. Thank you, King of Pete Brent.
It was a pleasure. Or not, that I got drugged to the basement, but I will be back.
You were drinking some
Islay. That is a threat and a warning.
But will you be back with pants?
No pants.
Okay.
No pants.
Well, that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Thank you, Man Maury.
Delightful day in the basement, Bob. Glad I wore my wool knickers today.
Your what?
My wool knickers. It's a little chilly and damp.
I don't want to know about that, man.
I just thought that was
Thank you very much, Bob. Maybe I'll learn to do a better Welsh accent next time.
You'll never be Tom Jones. As long as you live, you'll never be that cool. Ever, ever, ever. And thank you, Harm.
Thank you, Rob. I really appreciate being here.
Rob.
You're a gracious host.
Rob.
I say
There's an R
Bob.
in there.
Rob.
Yeah.
Bro, Bob.
Bob, bro. You're a gracious
Bro, Bob.
host. Don't believe what other people
Thanks
tell
for
you about you.
joining us. Don't drink any bad whiskey.
one-tan hand production of Sips, Suds, and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the Good Old Boys, will see you all next time.